Did you know that every dream you have at night is trying to tell you something? Sigmund Freud believed dreams are not random, they are messages from your hidden mind. Today, we are going to uncover that your dreams are really saying, "Hi everyone, I am Dr. Zara, a licensed psychologist, and welcome to the Dream Psychology series." In this video, we all dive into the first chapter of Sigmund Freud's book, Dream Psychology. For centuries, people thought dreams were either divine message or just nonsense. But Sigmund Freud changed that. He showed us how to read the hidden meaning behind them. If you have ever woken up wondering, why did I dream that? So stay till the end. Let's get started. Dream Psychology Chapter 1. Dreams have a meaning. In what we may term pre-scientific days, people were in uncertainty about the interpretation of dreams. When they were recalled after awakening, they were regarded as either the friendly or hostile manifestation of some higher powers, demonical and divine. With the rise of scientific thought, the whole of this expressive mythology was transferred to psychology. Today, there is but a small minority among educated persons who doubt that the dream is the dreamer's own psychical act. But since the downfall of the mythological hypothesis and interpretation of the dream has been wanting, the condition of its origin, its relationship to our psychical life when we are awake, its independence of disturbance which during the state of sleep seem to compel notice, its many peculiarities repugnant to our waking thought, the incongruence between its image and the feelings they engender. Then the dreams evinces the way in which on awakening our thoughts thrust it aside as something bizarre and our reminiscence mutilating and rejecting it. All these and many other problems have many hundreds years demanded answers which up till now could ever have been satisfactory. Before all, there is the question as to the meaning of the dream, a question which is in itself. There is firstly the psychical significance of the dream, its position with regard to the psychical process as to us possible biological functions. Secondly, has the dream a meaning? Can sense be made of each single dream as of other mental syntheses? Three tendencies can be observed in the estimation of dreams. Many philosophers have given currency to one of these tendencies, one which at the same time preserves something of the dream's former overvaluation. The foundation of dreams' life is for them a peculiar state of psychical activity, which they even celebrate as elevation to some higher state. Scubbard, for instance, claims the dream is liberation of the spirit from the pressure of external nature, a detachment of the soul from the fetter of matter. Not all go so far as this, but many maintain that dreams have their origin in real spiritual excitation and are the outward manifestation of spiritual powers whose free movements have been hampered during the day. Dream parenthesis Scherner Walcott. A larger number of observers acknowledge that dream life is capable of extraordinary achievement at any rate in certain field. Memory, in striking contradiction with this, the majority of medical writers hardly admitted that the dream in psychical. According to them, dreams are provoked and initiated excessively by stimuli proceeding from the sense or the body, which either reach the sleeper from without or are accidental disturbance of his internal organs. The dream has no greater claim to meaning and importance than the sound called forth by the 10 fingers of a person. The dream is to be regarded, says Binns, as a physical process, always useless, frequently morbid. All the peculiarities of dream life are explicable as the incoherent effort due to some psychological stimuli of certain organs or the cortical elements of a brain otherwise asleep but slightly affected by scientific opinion and untroubled as to the ordinary dream. The popular view holds firmly to the belief that dreams really have got a meaning in some way. They do foretell the future. Wish list, the meaning can be unveiled in some way or other from of bizarre and enigmatical content. The reading of dreams consists in replacing the event of the dream so far as remembered by other events. This is done either scene by scene according to some rigid key, or the dream as a whole is replaced by something else of which it was a symbol. Serious-minded persons laugh at these efforts. Dreams are but sea form. One day I discovered to my amazement that the popular view grounded in superstitions and not the medical one comes near to the truth about dreams. I arrived at new conclusion about dream by the use of a new method of psychological investigation, one which had rendered me good service in the investigations of phobias, obsession, illusion, and the like, and which under the name psychoanalysis had found acceptance by a whole school of investigators. The manifold analogies of dream life with the most diverse condition of psychical disease in the waking state have been rightly insisted upon by a number of medical observers. It seemed, therefore, a priori hopeful to apply to the interpretation of dreams method of investigations which had been tested in psychopathological process, obsession, and these peculiar sensation of haunting dread remain as strange to normal consciousness as do dream to our waking consciousness. Their origin is as unknown to consciousness as it that of dream. It was practical ends that impelled us in this disease to fathom their origin and formation. Experience had shown us that a cure and consequent mastery of the obsessing ideas did result when once those thought the connecting links between the morbid ideas and the rest of psychical were revealed, which were heretofore veiled for consciousness. The procedure I employed for the interpretation of dream thus arose the psychotherapy. This procedure is readily described, although Its practice demands instruction and experience. Suppose the patient is suffering from intense morbid dread. He is requested to direct his attention to the idea in question without, however, as he has so frequently done, meditation upon it. Every expression about it without any expectation which occurs to him should be imparted to the doctor. The statement which will be perhaps the mate that he cannot concentrate his intention about anything at all is to be construed by assuring him most positively that such a blank state of mind it's utterly impossible. As a matter of fact, a great number of impressions will soon occur with which other will associate themselves. These will be invariable, accompanied by the expression of the observer's opinion that have no meaning are unimportant. It will be at once noticed that is the self-criticism which prevented the patient from imparting the ideas which had indeedly already included them from consciousness. If the patient can induced to abandon this self-criticism and pursue the train matter which will be presently seen to be clearly linked to the morbid idea in question, its connection with other idea will be manifest and later on will permit the replacement which be manifest and later on the permit replacement of the morbid idea by a fresh one which is perfectly adopted the psychical continuity. This is not the place to examine thoroughly the hypothesis upon which the experiment rests, or the deduction which follow from its variable success. It must suffice to the state we be obtain matter enough for the resolution of every morbid idea if we especially direct our attention to the unbidden associations which disturb our thought. Those which are otherwise put aside by the critic as worthless refuse it. The procedure is exercised on oneself. The best plan of helping the experiment is to write down at once all one's from indistinct fancies. I will now point out where this method leads when I apply it to the examination of dreams. Any dreams would be made use of it this way from certain motives. However, choose a dream of my own which appears confused and meaningless to my memory and one which has the advantage of brevity. Probably my dream of last night satisfied the requirements. Its content fixed immediately after awakening runs as follows. Company at table or table d'hôte Spanish is served. Mrs. E.L. sitting next to me gives me her undivided attention and places her hand familiarly upon my knee. In defense, I remove her hand. Then she says, "But you have always had such a beautiful eyes." I then distinctly see something like two eyes as a sketch or as the contour of a speechless lens. This is the whole dream, or all at event all that I can remember. It appears to me not only obscure and meaningless, but more especially odd. Mrs. A.L. is a person with whom I am scarcely on visiting terms. Not to my knowledge have I ever desired any more cordial relationship. I have not seen her for a long time, and do not think here was any mention of her recently. No emotion whatever accompanied that the dream process. Reflecting upon this dream does not make it a bit clearly to my mind. I will now, however, present the ideas without premeditation and without criticism, which introspection yielded. I soon noticed that it is an advantage to break up the dream into its element and do search out ideas which link themselves to fragment. Company at table or table d'hôte, the recollection of the slight event which the evening of yesterday ended, is at one called up. I left a small party in the company of a friend who offered to drive me home in his cab. I prefer a taxi, he said. That gives one such a pleasant occupation. There is always something to look at. When we were in the cab and the cab driver turned the disc so that the first 60 hellers were visible. I continued the jest. We have hardly got in and we already of 60 heller. The taxi always reminds me of table d'hôte. It makes me avarice and selfish by continuously reminded me of my debt. It seemed to me amount upon too quickly, and I am always afraid that I shall be at a disadvantage just and I come not resistance at table d'hôte. The chemical I am getting too little that I must look after myself. In far-fetched connection with this I called to earth, this very earth, ye bring us to guilt, ye let us heedless go. Another idea about the table d'hôte. A few weeks ago, I was very cross with my dear wife at the dinner table at a Tylor's health resort because she was not sufficiently reserved with some neighbors with whom I wished to have absolutely nothing to do. I begged her so occupy herself rather with me than with the stranger. That is just as if I had been at disadvantage at the table d'hôte. The condition between the behavior of my wife at the table and that of Mrs. E.L. in the dream now strikes, addresses herself entirely to me. Further, I now notice that the dream is the reproduction of a little scene which transpired between my wife and myself when I was secretly courting her. The creasing undercover of tablecloth was an answer to her passionate letter. In the dream, however, my wife is replaced by the unfamiliar E.L. Mrs. E.L. is the daughter of a man to whom I earn money. I can't help noticing that here there is revealed an unsuspected connection between the dream content and my thought. If the chain of associations be follow up which proceeds from one element of the dream, one is soon led back to another of its element. The thoughts evoked by the dream stir up associations which were not noticeable in the dream itself. Is it not customary when someone expects other to look after its interest without any advantage to themselves to ask the innocent question statically, do you think this will be done for the sake of your beautiful eyes? Hence, Mrs. E.L. speech in the dream. You have always had such a beautiful eyes, mean nothing but people always do everything to you for love of you. You have had everything for nothing. The contrary is of course the truth. I have always paid dreadly from whatever kindness others have shown me. Still, the fact that I had a ride for nothing yesterday when my friend drove me home in his cab must have made an impression upon me. In any case, the friend whose guest we were yesterday has often made me his debtor. Recently, I allow an opportunity of requiting him to go by. He had only one present from me. As I remarked, nearly all parts of the dream have been brought into this new connection. I still might ask why in the dream it was spinach that was served up. Because spinach caught up little scene which recently occurred at our table, a child whose beautiful eyes are really deserved. Some children would be very glad to get spinach. Thus, I am reminded of the parents' duties toward their children. God's words to earth, this very earth, ye bring us to guilt, ye let us beadless go. Naturally, I would not draw such a far-reaching conclusion if only one analysis were known to me. Experience has shown me that when the occasions of my dreams are honesty follow, such a chain of thought is revealed. The constituent part of the dream repair correctly and sincerely consistent by link together. The slight suspicious that his consternation was merely an accident of a single first observation must therefore be absolutely relinquished. I regarded it therefore as my right to establish this new view by a proper remarkable. I contrast the dream which my memory evokes with the dream and other added matter revealed by analysis. The former I call the dream's manifest content, the latter without at first further subdivision its leviant content. I arrive at two new problems here unformulated. First, what is the psychical process which has transformed the latent content of the dream into its manifest content? 2. What is the motives or the motives which have made such transformation exigent? It is not uncommon that out of some long, complicated and intricate dream, one specially lucid part stands out containing unmistakably the realization of a desire, but bound up with much intelligent matter. One more frequently analyzing the seemingly more transparent dream of adults, it is astonishing to discover that these are rarely as simple as the dream of children, and that they cover another meaning beyond that of the realization of a wish. Before leaving these infantile dreams, which are obviously unrealized desire, we must not fail to mention another chief characteristics of dream, one that has been another long notice and one which stands out most clearly in this class. I can replace any of these dreams by a phrase expressing a desire if the sea trip had only lasted longer, if I were only washed and dressed, if I had only been allowed to keep the cherries instead of giving them to my uncle. But the dream gives something more than the choice for her. The desire is already realized. Its realization is real and actual. The dream presentation constant chiefly, if not wholly, of sees and mainly of visual sense image. Hence, a kind of transformation is not entirely absent in this class of dream, and this may be fairly designated as the dream work, an idea merely existing in the realm of passionately is replaced by a vision of its accomplishment. So friends, today we learned that every image, every person, every emotion in your dream carries a hidden meaning behind it. If you found this helpful, hit like, share it. I'll see you in the next video.